Okay, today we're going to go over CC1 4.1.2. We're starting with problem number 16. I'm going to look at the figure formed by square tiles below. How can you find out how many small square tiles there are in this diagram without counting each one? Think about this as you answer the questions below. Part A. Write and simplify an expression involving addition to count the number of small squares. So I have to use addition. So when I'm looking at this pattern, I don't have to count each individual square. I can say, well, here's a group. It's 2 by 5. I might have to count this way, but I can see that it's 2 here and it's 5 here. So that's 10. Then I notice, well, there's another group. It's the same grouping, which also has to be 10. So it's 10 plus 10. And then I notice, well, here's a group of 4. I didn't even have to count. Okay, and there's a group of 2. So 10 plus 10 plus 4 plus 2. I could have also written 10 times 2 plus 4 plus 2. Well, then I need to simplify. So 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 4 plus 2 is 26. There are 26 tiles. Okay, now I am going to do part B. Write and simplify an expression involving subtraction. So I know I have to subtract. When I had this colored in, let's see, I'll go here. So I notice, okay, the side was 5. I have 2, 2, and 2, which is 6 for the whole length. So if I go ahead and find the area of the whole rectangle, it would be 5 times 6. But then we notice, well, hey, there's this gap here. It's the same size as the 4 that's right below it. So I'm going to subtract 4 from my area. And then I'm going to simplify. So 5 times 6 is 30, minus 4 is 26 tiles. They should match because we're dealing with the same shape. Okay, moving to problem 18. Melissa collected the dates of all her friends' birthdays. The histogram at right shows what she found out. Make a list of the months when her friends' birthdays occur and how many birthdays there are in each month. Okay, so I'm just going to write out January to December because I know that there are 12 months. So I have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, spelled that wrong, July, August, September, October, November, December. And I'm going to look at my histogram. I'm going to go, okay, well, in January, there's 1, 2, 3 birthdays. In February, there are 2 birthdays. March has no birthdays. April has 1 birthday. May doesn't have any birthdays. June goes all the way up to 6. So June has 6 birthdays. July has 2 birthdays. August doesn't have any. September has 2. October has, if this is 2, 3's here, 4. October has 4 birthdays. And November and December don't have any. Problem number 19, review the math notes box in this lesson, then convert each mixed number to a fraction greater than 1 or each fraction greater than 1 to a mixed number. I do not have the math notes box here with me, but we're gonna go over how to do this. I'm gonna zoom in really close so I can write it down. So if I'm going from a mixed number to a fraction greater than 1, I look at my whole number first and I multiply it to my denominator. Okay, I multiply to my denominator. So 4 times 8 is 32. And then I add my numerator. So 32 plus 1 is 33, and my denominator stays the same. Part B has 302 over 3. It's already an improper fraction. I have to make it into a mixed number. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm going, okay, well I have 302 divided by 3. 3 goes into 300 100 times, or 3 goes into 3 once. 3 minus 3 is 0. 3 goes into 0 0 times. 0 minus 0 is 0. I bring down my 2. 3 goes into 2 0 times. And I'm stuck with this remainder. Now in our homework from last night, we didn't want a remainder. In this case, it helps me out. So I know that 3 goes into 302 100 times, and I have 2 out of 3 left. Part C, I'm going to again go from a mixed number to an improper fraction. I multiply my whole number by my denominator. 100 times 5 is 500. I add my numerator, which is 502, and my denominator stays the same. Part D, remember the fraction bar is division. It's 18 divided by 3. 3 doesn't go into 1, but 3 goes into 18 6 times, so it is 6, so no remainders. Okay, going to problem 20 on the other side. For each expression below, each expression below begins with -5 and then adds something to it. As you look at each expression, state which direction you should move on a number line if you start at -5, then simplify. For example, if the expression reads -5 plus -9, you would write, well, it's going to go left, and the answer is -14. Since from -5, you would move left on a number line 9 units and would end up at -14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a number line. I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to have my negatives over here and my positives over here. So I always start at my -5 is what it says. So part A, I have -5, and I'm adding a negative, okay? So if I'm adding a negative, I'm going to keep getting smaller. It's going to go left. And how I solve this is, okay, well, I know it's going to be negative. It's still going to be negative. So 5 plus 4.5. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. It's -9.5. Part B, again, I start at -5. I'm adding a positive number, which means that I'm going to add and go to the right. Now, this is the same thing as say if I'm starting at -5 and I'm adding 6 3/5. Okay, so I could do one of two things. I could change it to decimals, or I could keep it as fractions. Okay. So what I'm going to do is 3/5. Actually, I can make into a decimal really easily. So 3/5, I want to make it into a fraction out of 100. 5 times 20 and 3 times 20. 3 times 20 is 60. It's 60 1/100ths, which also equals 6/10. So it's 6 and 6/10. Really what I'm doing is I'm taking my 6 and 6/10 and I started at -5. So I'm going to subtract 5 from that to get to my answer. 6 minus 0 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. So I go right, and my answer is 1 and 6/10 because I know it's going to be a positive number. Part C, I start at -5 again. I add a negative. So just like A, if I'm adding a negative, I'm going to the left. And then I'm going to say, well, if I'm adding a negative, it's going to get smaller, but I'm going to add -8. So 5 plus 8 is 13. It's -13. Okay, problem number 17. A team of students worked on the problem 412. This is what we did in class today with the picture frame. The team's work is shown below. Unfortunately, the expressions, descriptions, and diagrams got mixed up. We need to match the counting method, word description, and diagram that describe the same strategy. Do not use lines to connect them. This means I don't want to draw lines through my homework. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with A. So, A is 4 times 10 minus 4. So, I have to go through my word descriptions. So, number 1 is start in one corner and count 9 4 times. Well, this is 10 4 times, so that automatically tells me that's not it. Number 2, take a side length of 10 4 times and take away the 4 corners. Well, I just said it's 10 4 times. Do I subtract the 4 corners, though? The answer is yes. So, A, lowercase a, matches with 2. Now we have to find a picture. So, A, it doesn't quite match. I don't know where I'm taking away the 4. B, the center is all colored in. C, the sides and the bottom and the top are all different sizes. So then it has to be D. Part B, 10 plus 9 plus 9 plus 8. Number 1 was start in one corner, count 9 4 times. That's not going to work. Number 3, take the entire 100s grid and subtract the inside part. That would be subtraction. There's no subtraction in that expression, which leaves number 4. So B, 4. And 4 is take the top length, which is 10, then add the 2 vertical sides, and then add the bottom. So I'm going to cross these off as I do them. Okay, well, part A, all those look the same, so I don't think it's A. Part B, again, that inside is all shaded in. That doesn't have anything to do, that's almost subtraction. I don't see any subtraction. Part C, the top and the sides are different, and then the bottom's a different length. So, it has to be C. Lowercase c, 9 times 4. Number 1 is start in one corner and count 9 4 times. That sounds right. So C, lowercase c matches with 1. Then if I look at my pictures, I have A or B to choose from. And A has the same length 4 times, so it has to be A. Which leaves for part D, it has to match with number 3 and uppercase B. As always, if you have questions, please come and talk to me.